Hey, what's up everybody? We are up potting peppers today, and so I figured that I would come on here, and if anybody's out there and they want to chat, go for it. I'm testing out a new live camera, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it won't cut off, but anyways, we're up potting peppers. I am up potting right now lipstick peppers, shepherd peppers, I'm thinking of tomatoes still. Craig's jalapeno, Sir Purple, cayenne peppers, and maybe a couple eggplants. I got to see how much I can get there. I got like 100 and some peppers to do. I'm not gonna have time to do them all today, but we're gonna get started. So I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Try and see if I can see the messages up here. Yeah. Okay. So the roots are looking pretty good on this one. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So it's a good day to do this. I'm sitting in the shade, don't have a whole lot going on. It's warm. Thank heavens it's not freezing cold. Hopefully we're almost done with the winter weather. I'd be curious to see how you guys are doing through this winter weather and if it's getting any warmer. Oh, you're under snow in Canada? That's terrible. I'm so sorry. I mean, we don't ever get snow, which I guess is unfortunate, but I don't really like snow, so we're up potting our peppers today. And I just was bored, so I figured I'd come see if anybody wanted to hang out. I didn't really announce it or anything, so we'll see what we get, but we've got like 100 some odd peppers to do. What are you doing in Canada? What are you growing? Anything? Got any seeds going or anything? In my experience with this YouTube live, there is a massive delay. So I'm sorry if you ask a question and I can't get to it fast enough. I gotta have my faithful stick. So if you don't have this, this is a seedling approved stick to remove them. And I just stick it up through the bottom and then just kind of at the same time give the seedling a tug and it comes out. So nice and perfect. So I'm hoping to get, obviously I'm hoping to get a good pepper year this year. We'll see. I don't really want to have to up pot these more than once, but it's so early, but it's so warm that we may end up actually having to up pot them twice, but I'm hoping not, because it's going to be kind of a bear. Oh, what, you're starting peppers next week? Yeah, we are light years ahead of you. That's crazy. I hope you got some good varieties picked out. These peppers here are about 2 months old, so they are slow to grow. Slow. Which is why we start them right around New Year's. Oh. But we've got some good drainage with the vermiculite in there and stuff like that, so it shouldn't be that bad. Welcome everybody. If you're just showing up, let us know what you're up to in your garden or waiting to do, or how the weather is or something. I'm just kind of sitting out here, figured I had some time and would connect with people. I plan to get my peppers in the ground, I'm hoping for like the middle of April maybe, which I know for some people seems crazy. That would be a little early for us, but we're already, like today we're pushing 80 degrees. So I don't think it's that much of a stretch if it continues on this trajectory. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, not bad. And I like these little colored pots. My original plan was to color code everything, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. I would leave them both in there for right now, and then I'm imagining that this one will start to overtake, so I'll probably end up just trimming this one off at the base and letting that one take over. But it kind of is what it is. Sometimes I miss them when I go to thin out my seedlings. Deborah is starting red mustard and greens. You know, I have just started loving mustard this year. I've been growing it for years and never really loved it. And then I let it get really spicy and I really like it. So I haven't grown red mustard yet though. Maybe I'll give it a shot this fall. If I do it now, it'll just go straight to seed. Anybody growing anything else this time of year? Or waiting for the snow to go away? I know when I lived in zone 6, I would just sit there and just pray for the snow to go away this time of year. I hated it because my body was used to being in the more southern states. So, you know, come February, I was waiting for the warm up. But we're not out of the woods yet. And so this is a perfect, the roots are just starting to wrap. So we've got it good. We caught it at the right time, so they'll be able to continue going in the right direction. And they won't keep wrapping, they'll just start spreading, which is what we want. So if you're new, I'm trying a new camera out for live stream. So the camera is live stream, but the phone is telling me. So if it's a little bit of a delay, if you guys have questions or comments or anything, I'm sorry. I'm not really sure how this was gonna go down. So, but if you have something, fire off. Oh, what kind of peppers are we growing? So right now, I'm repotting lipstick peppers. And then I also am gonna be repotting shepherd peppers. So lipstick peppers are the sweetest pepper in the world, supposedly. I don't know if that's true. I've eaten them and they're sweet, but they're not that damn sweet. We're also gonna do cayenne peppers. We're doing Sir Purple peppers, Jimmy Nordella peppers, which are they're like a long frying pepper. They're really good. They're one of my favorites. And then we're doing Craig's Hot Grande jalapeno, which they're just like a bigger jalapeno. Sounds a lot fancier than it is. And red cherry peppers. I only have a couple red cherry pepper seeds left, so I did those. And they're pretty cool. They get about that big. And so my son likes to take them to school and eat them in front of all his friends, and they think he's crazy because they think they're hot, but they're really sweet. He's a jokester. I guess he takes after his dad, I don't know. Hey, Twisted Pixie, good afternoon. And I have a couple eggplants that I threw into the same seed cell. And so I want, like these trays are 72 cells. And so I wanted to get them empty so I could utilize them for some my zinnias and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I wanted to push it a little bit. But yeah, this vermiculite that I've been using this year has worked really good for these peppers. These were the plant that I reason why I decided to switch to putting the vermiculite on top. I don't know if you guys saw that video I did, but I was having problems with the seeds getting buried too deep. And I would go back and I'd have to go like every couple days and like stir up with my chopstick. I keep a chopstick by my seed starting station. Best tool ever is a chopstick, believe it or not. and I would find them. So this year when I switched to the vermiculite on top and just laying the seed on the bottom, I had 100% germination. Now I did have some die, but that was my fault. But I did have 100% germination. If you're getting too spindly, Twisted Pixie, you just need more light. And if you're using grow lights, get the grow lights closer to the plant. I keep mine about 2 inches off the top. So that should help. I've had a lot of people ask about nutrients for getting them to be not spindly, and the nutrients don't really have anything to do with it. It's all about light. So, and some people, it's funny, I just saw an article the other day, the top 10 tips for growing successful seedlings in your garden from pros, and I had a picture of a guy putting his seedlings in his windowsill, or his seeds in the windowsill, and typically that doesn't work, because if you think about it, unless you've got some kind of like house with like windows all around, you're only going to get the sun from that one angle for a short amount of time, so the plant's going to constantly be reaching for it. So try to add your grow light or go closer to it or something like that, and that should do the trick. When I first started out, I thought all I needed was a windowsill, and that wasn't the case. And even now, my grow lights aren't very expensive. I think I spent, before inflation, so add 9%, 6%, whatever, 60 bucks on 6 grow lights that are 4 feet long. So it wasn't too bad. What's up, Best Yet Journey? What are you up to? If you guys are growing something in your gardens, let us know. I'm super curious about how, what people in different regions are doing in their gardens right now and growing. We just finished completely planning out our garden. I don't think I have very much space for anything else. I got a little bit of space, and we should be putting our potatoes out this week. So we're gonna do a video about that, and I'll put that up. It should be out next week sometime. So we're excited. We're there. And in our area, if you're a fan of the Backyard Gardens podcast, or if you watch the channel at all, you know that I call this the heartbreak zone, and that it's yo-yo season. So it's, the temperatures are just brutal. Twisted Pixie, if you get your grow lights and you want it, when is Mother's Day? I think it's in May, right? And if you're talking about peppers, you want to start them now. This is 2 months old. So my goal is to have the plant this big after it's been trimmed and caused to branch off by the time they plant out. So ooh, Best Yet Journey is putting in watermelons. That's awesome. I want to be putting watermelons in. I got like 3 months before I can do that. You ate me on, am I still on IG? I'm not really on IG anymore. I didn't really like all the community stuff on there as much, so I still have a small presence on there, but not much. I prefer YouTube. It got to be too much for me. Yeah, that's the thing with peppers, is you got to really go fast. You got to kind of stay on top of them. And I planted my tomatoes 2 weeks ago. So, and I know I said I was going to do a live about it, but I started looking at the weather and I was like, crap, I got to start like now. So I started like right away. And I had to concentrate on it because my son wanted to help me. He wants to be a farmer when he grows up for right now. So I wanted to show him, and I couldn't concentrate on both at once. A twofer. So I don't know if you guys were on here earlier, but if I have something like this, I wait after I up pot and see if either one's gonna outgrow the other or if one's gonna die off before I would thin this out. Twisted Pixie's gonna have a busy garden. You got a lot of vines going on there. It's gonna be awesome. My garlic's doing well. I'm on my 2nd generation of grocery store garlic, so I'm excited to see how it changes this year. It's been an ongoing experiment, and I couldn't plant as much as I wanted to because I wanted to only use what I saved from last year. So I'm excited to see. And I'm not a big garlic connoisseur, you know what I mean? Like, I just want the flavor. I don't really care what kind it is. It doesn't matter to me, you know. I might try elephant garlic next year just because it's bigger. Because I mean, if a recipe calls for 2 cloves, we're putting in 2 bulbs. I mean, that's basically how it goes. So yeah, I got bus stop duty in a little bit, but I've got about 100 pepper seedlings left to go. It's a slow process, and I expect it to take me a couple days to do. So can you guys hear me okay? And is the picture clear? Because I'm testing out this new system, so I just want to know what you guys think. Dude, Twisted Pixie, if yours is a U shape, I'm super jealous. If I could redo my garden, I would do all U shapes. I might as well just make it like an alphabet, like a C and a U, and hell, I'd even do a D and put a trampoline on one side so I could jump in the other end. Hey Deborah, how are your onions doing? I know that you had said you were planting them for the first time. Alan from Scotland, my man, pots and pans. Top of the morning to you. Actually, that's not Scottish. He's got field beans making progress and the onions all rotted. I can imagine that with as wet as it is up there. I could imagine. Believe it or not, I used to live in Scotland. I used to live in Dunoon, Scotland when I was a kid. I learned to speak there, and apparently I had a Scottish accent for the first couple years of my life, but it's gone, obviously. Thank you, the Mom General. I don't know, that your name kind of made me nervous. The Mom General. I feel like I'm about to get yelled at. Don't yell at me. Yeah, it's cool to see everybody's gardens. I've had a couple people come by and buy seedlings from me, and I always ask them, like, hey, what kind of garden you have? What kind of shape? I had a guy come by the other day. All right, check this out. I only do this because it's live. This guy came over, and he was older, and he was starting a garden as an acre. And I was talking to him. Now, just hang on with me here. And he goes, I said, okay, so you got an acre. That's cool. I was like, how are you going to water it? Because I was curious. He's like, well, I'm going to let the Lord water it, which I kind of anticipated that answer. And then he came back and he was like, hey, can I go check out your chickens? And he had a cane, so I was like, yeah, be careful. There's been gophers in my yard, so it's like even unsteady for me to walk. I didn't want the guy to fall. And I look out back, and the guy is looking at the chickens, and he's taking a leak out there by the chicken coop. So I was like, okay. So I went in there and I told my son, I was like, that guy was peeing in the backyard. And my son just looks at me and goes, Daddy, when you gotta go, you gotta go. And I was like, you know what? That's the right attitude to have. It was ridiculous. Alan, I don't remember anything about Dunoon, so I remember it being very foggy. That was all I remember. I was a young lad. All right, if you're in zone 10B, then like you're just here to make everybody jealous. I mean, come on. No, that's awesome. I'm glad your onions are doing good. Yeah, if you have 5 kids, you are the general. But what's your husband's name? Don't answer that. So apparently I was really bad about thinning. This is like the 5th one I've had that are doubles. I'm kind of ashamed of myself. How cool are these, or cool or cute are these colored pots here? I love them. They were only like 10 cents more for the same amount, so I was like, why not? Okay, Deborah, what's very cold for San Diego? I'm curious, because I've heard that from a few people. You know, I don't grow a lot of sweet pepper or hot peppers either. I grow just enough to kind of do some canning. I do the cayennes, and mostly for the decoration in the house. We do a lot more sweet peppers because they're so much more versatile. And if somebody comes over to eat or something, you don't know what you're gonna do, what they're gonna like or anything. Now we do like to do, I like to make hot sauce. So I did that this year. It's hot as fire, so I need to dilute it a little bit this year. But it should be interesting. You'll like these, Alan. These are lipstick peppers. You might want to try them. They're the sweetest pepper in the world, supposedly. That's what I read. I am not claiming it, but that's what I read. 57 during the day and 39 at night. I give it to you. That's pretty chilly. We are, right now it's 80 degrees, and tonight it'll be 42. So we're getting, you know, wild temperature swings right now. But today was the first day that I could smell spring. You know that smell? I could smell the spring. So if you guys have any questions about anything, like, don't hesitate to ask. That's what I'm here for too. I don't care. I'm just happy you guys are here with me and I don't have to sit here and talk to myself. I get tired of listening to the same old playlist all the time. Yeah, so hot sauce Allen's pretty easy to make. I found a recipe last year. At some point as it gets closer to pepper season, I'll probably post it in the community portion of the page. We'll probably do it. It was basically like pepper, salt, and vinegar. That was it. And it turned out pretty good. Like I said, I just need to dilute it a little bit more. I don't get crazy with like different fruits and stuff like that in it because I like to can it. So I don't want to make it any more complicated than I have to be. So the smell did leave my greenhouse, thankfully. Took about a week. I'd go in there and work and gag, so there was that. It was brutal. Thank you for asking, because I was quite worried I was gonna have to burn the greenhouse down. Tanya, I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. I got dirt all over my phone now. She's growing shishito peppers this year, and I'm in zone 6A. Hey, CC's Texas Garden. Okay, so here's the deal with shishito peppers. I love growing them because I love saying it. That's the thing. I love saying it. It makes me feel like I'm fancier than I really am. Would you like some of my shishito peppers? But they're really good. I like them fried. And I like the fact that they could either be hot or mild. It's like you never knew what you were gonna get. At least the ones I grew were that way. That was right. Shishito. You know, the problem I have is, you know, when we sell our seedlings and stuff, we want to sell different varieties that you can't get at the box stores at a cheaper price, because, you know, last year they're gouging people's eyes out for the prices. And so what we found is people have never heard of like lipstick peppers or geranium kissed tomatoes or something, and so they don't want to buy them because they don't understand. So what I had to do last year is I had to give out like free plants and say like, hey, hit me up if you like them, and they would call me and say, oh, I love them. Oh yeah, so if you guys are new, I'm up potting all my peppers. So I'm not gonna do them all because I got like well, I should have 144 of them, but I had some die off. But I'm just kind of getting started, and I didn't want to. Right now I'm doing lipstick peppers. So I got bus stop duty soon, so you know how that is. If I don't go to the bus stop, it's like the end of the world. Now, one thing about these seed trays is it's kind of a pain to pull out the plants. They're not really a pain, but it's just not what I'm used to with the 6-packs where you can just kind of squeeze them and pull. Yeah, $6 for how many peppers? I think it's just one pepper if I'm not mistaken. I mean, last year it was like $4 or $5 for one lettuce plant. That's stupid. I'd see people in the store buying the lettuce plants, and I'm like, hey man, I'm like, I promise you I started doing this. I was like, don't buy that lettuce plant. Come out to the truck. I got a 6-pack in the truck, and I'd sell people a 6-pack in the Lowe's parking lot because I'm like, I can't watch people that are clearly trying to learn how to garden just get robbed constantly. Yeah, 6 for one bell pepper plant. It's crazy. Now I will say this, I sell these for $4 or $5 each, but they're different, they're heirloom, and I don't have, you know, I can't grow like they can, so my prices are not far off. But like the tomatoes here last year, they were $8 for one tomato, and we're selling them for $5 each, and people eat them up, so literally. Yes, like I had a lady come by yesterday, and she didn't want to, she may actually be on here, I don't know. She didn't want to buy any kale because she didn't like it. And I said, you know, she didn't like the taste of it. And I told her, I was like, well, I'm growing a different variety than you're probably used to eating. And I gave her a leaf, and I was like, here, try it. And she was like, yeah, she could tell there's a noticeable difference in the flavor of it. Yeah, Tanya, you know, there's a lot of terminology to it, and I try in my videos not to get like too technical, and even on the podcast. I mean, we've had episodes on our podcast, Backyard Gardens podcast, check it out everywhere, shameless plug, where we, you know, about terminology and stuff. And it's like when we first started, I had this thing where I was like, I'm not calling it soil, I'm gonna call it dirt, because it doesn't matter. You know, I went to my local plant supplier, and I was like, yeah, I need to get a bag of dirt. And he's like, dirt? What do you mean dirt? And I was like, well, I need dirt for my garden. He's like, do you mean soil? I'm like, yes, soil, okay? Let's get past the semantics and just give me the damn soil, like, whatever. So it just kind of is what it is. And down here in the South, you know, it's common to call soil dirt. Hey Alan, how long have you had your peppers growing if they're a little bit smaller than mine? Just curious. See there? See there, Alan? That's what I'm talking about. There's nothing wrong with calling it dirt. There's nothing wrong with being simple. You know, it's like the first leaves that come out on the plant are called the, technically the, what is it, the cotyledons. I just call them the first leaves. You know what I'm talking about. And I mean, it's all about making it accessible for everybody. You know, if I sit here and get super technical and don't talk about something, then, you know, or talk over your head, then it just kind of turns people off. And like, in this community, that's the last thing we want to do, is turn people off from gardening. I want you to understand as much as possible so you can grow as much as possible. Because I don't think I need to tell you guys, but growing will change. You know, growing your food is like a life-changing experience, in my opinion. Can be stressful though. Does anybody have any questions or anything? I'm gonna have to go to the bus stop soon, but I just wanted to, you know, if you guys got any questions or like anything you guys want to see on the channel or anything or stuff like that, like let me know, because you know, I do it for you guys. That is a pretty plant. I wish it smelled like a tomato though. You know what I mean? That tomato smell is just something special. Call this the Easter egg pots. It even has a little leaf on it that you can't even see. I bet that's what the extra 10 cents was that little leaf. Oh, Tanya, that is the ultimate question. So, yeah, this is your 4th year growing. So, yes, it takes time. And that's like one of the final things that takes time, is figuring out your timing. And it's specific to every area. And so what a lot of people will do is say like, hey, when should I plant this? And it's like, well, the go-to rule is like 6 weeks before you'd want to plant it out. And so then you got to figure out like, when do I plant it out? So it just depends, really. It depends. Go 6 weeks back from your frost date, your last frost date. And if you're doing like a spring vegetable that can take a frost, then you could go probably, depending on your area, where you are and how cold you get. Like I go 12 weeks roughly past my last frost date. So, but that's my area. So your area could be different. So Alan's gonna have pepper surprise this year. Every pepper is gonna be a surprise. I love it. I live that life. I live by that. So, okay, since you guys are getting a grasp on spring gardening, let's look at it this way. You probably have had a summer garden, and correct me if I'm wrong, since now I can actually get a correction. This is probably one of your first years of getting into spring gardening, and the question is, have you done a fall garden? So that's the other question, because that will really help narrow down what their timing could be. The pollen is terrible right now. A lot of tree sex going on outside. That yellow pollen is everywhere. So for me, my state has a planting calendar, and you could go on to, you know, if you go to like your state extension or something, or just Google for your state, there may very well be a planting calendar, but it's not going to be perfect for you. And so again, with the garden, you've got to kind of time it out different. So like right now, I am roughly either a month or 6 weeks from my last frost date, depending on what you look at. And I can tell you that in my area, we always get cold again at Easter. Like always, that's like one of the last frosts. So we just planted out everything. in anticipation for this. So that's 6 weeks out, and then we had this stuff growing for 6 weeks before that. So we can go 12 weeks out because we don't get, like the coldest we got this year was 16 and it was one night, and then the next day it was like 50. So the plants can recover, and that's something that you need to take into account as well. Yeah, so fall gardening can be something else too, because you're coming out of the heat into the cold. So it's like the complete opposite. So you don't want to shock your plants too much, and some of them will just get stunted in the heat. And I know, like you said, you're in Michigan, so you probably, it's like I was telling a friend the other day, you can probably have like a banger spring and fall garden in your area because you get those cooler temperatures. Whereas us, for our fall garden, we have to start it so late that it can, and you've witnessed it this year, how it can be hit or miss for us. Certain things will do really well. Yeah, so 9A, you're not too far. I'm in 8A. So you can probably, if I were you, I would start, let's say cabbage, for instance. That's one of the first ones to go in the ground. You could probably start your cabbage seedlings around Thanksgiving. You start your seeds inside, and greens and the root crops do really good. So for me, like I struggle with broccoli every fall. Actually, I struggle with broccoli every year because we don't get consistent cool springs. I mean, this year, I swear it's going to go from winter to summer. We go through 4 seasons a day in our state. Yeah, so kale is another one that does really good, Alan, and you can plant that like around the same time. If, Tanya, your last frost date is 4/28, then I would say you can probably start your cabbage around the middle of January and then get it out roughly now, probably. If you harden it off right and get it that way, you could probably get it off like that. I think that would be helpful. I hope that helps. Summer is the easy season. It's hot, plant. But I will tell you this, if I can, keep with it, because there's nothing more rewarding than having like a 3-season garden. I think 4 seasons is a stretch for a lot of people, but a 3-season garden is great. Tanya, is that the cabbage inside? Yeah, so you're not far from me, General. I could totally see you having stuff over winter and being able to have like almost a year-round garden to some extent. There, especially with a little bit of frost protection, I could totally envision you being able to do having your broccoli, cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts, start your onions in like February, stuff like that. I could totally see that being something you can do. Yeah, so if it's 2 inches tall and 2 sets of leaves, what I would do is I would fertilize them, and I would leave them in there for another couple weeks, see if you can get another set of leaves on them. And then if it's not super cold, like it's not consistently getting below freezing, it's like dipping, then you can take that opportunity and go and start hardening them off appropriately. And at least once they get hard enough, you can leave them outside, because they're going to grow faster outside than they will in your house. Cece, did your cabbage get sweeter after the frost? And how do you have sweet cabbage? I'm just not on board with this. It gets sweeter after a frost. I think it's just sweeter because you like, it's like, damn, I grew this. Hey, it's no problem. I mean, I've always said, I just want to help people learn to grow and grow for change. But I just want people, you know, I just want to help people out where I can. So I'm glad I could help you, Tanya. And I hope that your garden is going to be fantastic this year. And you have the knowledge moving forward in spring and fall to really take advantage of that and grow. You, you're silly. Silly Billy. So, I'll show you what I got left. This is what I have left here. I've got, this is all the rest of the lipstick peppers, and these are going to be the shepherd peppers. And then I also have this. So, red cherry peppers. I got a couple eggplants, Jimmy Nordellas, the cayennes. There's a lot of cayennes here, and there's a lot of jalapenos, and then there's a row of Sir Purple peppers, which was a seed that was given to me from a listener of the podcast who created this pepper. I believe it's a cross between a purple Apache and a Serrano pepper, and so it turns, it's about this big, it's purple, and it has an apple flavor. I swear it has an apple flavor, and it has a slow burn to it, so it doesn't really kick in right away, but it's not really hot either, like overly hot. Gotta catch up on these comments. I've got broccoli in pots waiting to go out about 5 inches high. Dude, they're ready to go as soon as you are, in my opinion. I wished I lived in warmer temps, but now I'm coming to realize I'm in the best place because I can grow 3 seasons. There it is. Okay, you want to know my opinion on pink egg tomatoes, orange tomatoes, green tomatoes, black tomatoes, and purple tomatoes? I don't like them. I like my tomatoes red. I grew orange tomatoes like 2 years ago. Didn't have a red tomato, and I was truly upset about it, so it's not my thing. I think they're cool looking, but it just, when it comes to the garden, I like having red tomatoes. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much. I'm glad you guys were here with me. There should be, I actually did a video about this, so it'll be out this weekend, I believe. And then the next one's about like stuff we're doing around the garden for spring. So I'll try and come on here when I do stuff like this just so I can talk to you. You know, I hope everybody has a blessed day, and I hope that your spring gardens are going well and your seed starting is. Stay strong and stay with the game, and don't worry. We've got 22 days